can't wait. We are back. We are getting Doug back. No, I'm just joking. It's official. Season 2 is here. We actually have Doug back now. Super stoked on doing this podcast, and turns out I do actually really enjoy it. Speaking to other creatives is always a pleasure, and hopefully it helps out some of the listeners. From here on, we're releasing an episode a month for the foreseeable future, at least. Guests from all over the world, videographers and photographers, and I'm sure at some point I'll probably expand that to like other job roles, marketing, advertising, and definitely like social media managers. Yeah, we're going to have a bit more of a relaxed approach versus season 1, as you'll hear. First episode is a go, and we're lucky enough to have Lucas Leva, a very talented videographer from California who works full-time with motorsport companies. And on top of that, he's just an awesome dude. So let's get down to it. Welcome back to Media Pass. But yeah, today's like probably one of the bigger guests for me. Big buddy down in California, Lucas Leva, obviously better known as the Luke Master on Instagram. Yeah, what's up, buddy? How's it going?
Yo, man. Damn, it's been an honor being on your podcast. We've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. But yeah, it's super stoked to have you here, obviously. But yeah, just jumping right into it, honestly, like I've wanted to ask you this and just kind of talk about it for a while, but it's good to like, you know how busy it is like when we're at the track and working events and stuff. How do you approach such like a cinematic way of shooting at the track where from like a viewer point of view of your content, in my opinion, you see the world in like a different way. It's like you look at the track and you look at motorsport and you're turning it into like art. And how do you approach that? Is that something that you just kind of naturally do, or is that like something you consciously do when you're at the track?
It's kind of like in the moment thing, I guess, for me, because every time I do go to a new track or even like returning to the same track, it's like it's this giant canvas that doesn't really look like anything yet. And it's not until I start looking through the monitor and like framing these things up and like seeing it on camera where it'll all come together. And usually for me, it has to do with like a lot of elements, like the lighting, or like I usually try to get some sort of backlight, like whether it's the sun or like a headlight, and like it'll start giving me these cool flares. And then I just, because for me, it mostly comes alive in the edit. Like I see these shots and it's like, oh, this one's good, but that's just like now going into all the data of all the other shots that I got. But when I look back on it and like put all the colors on it and like put the clips together, that's when it comes to life for me.
It really pops for sure. I kind of know what you mean, but I think it's like a natural thing that you like subconsciously like don't really recognize. You know what I mean? Like it's just like the way that we like you view the world. For one video in particular, I think I've mentioned it in the past, is like that Seattle golden hour video you did. Is just like it's honestly like on like Charles Leclerc freaking like Coda like sunset lap level.
Yeah, like Seattle is such a just the setting there is beautiful. Like I know I'm gonna get something good there. Like that one in Long Beach, I would say for like the top 16 ceremony during FD, or like when they announce the winners on track, like I know I'm gonna get something good. And yeah, I look forward to that like all day long, because that's where I know I'm gonna let the camera just rip.
I mean, I don't have too many tracks under my belt now. You probably have more than I know you have more than I do, but I would say Long Beach is probably my favorite track to shoot at as of right now.
Oh,
just because
yeah,
of like the setting, and like it's
all
also
the
just
buildings
like
in the background,
and just the vibe. It's like it comes out in like the way you shoot, and like the way like if you're having a good day, you're gonna shoot like more positive footage. You know what I mean? If you're having a bad day, it's gonna reflect in your footage. I think that you can't have a bad day at the Long Beach track, so maybe that's just my experience with it.
Maybe last year when it was raining.
I don't know, man. I still enjoy myself, but so yeah, I was talking to Herbie recently about this. Is like, I think it's like, do you wear headphones? Like, do you listen to music when you're filming at the track?
I usually wear headphones, yeah, but music, not really. Because now I got like these noise cancel ones, and I just like put in silence. Like,
oh yeah, actually, I think I saw those. Nice. Yeah.
I used to put music on, but then like I kind of do need to hear things around me. So
yeah, it's a little bit of a safety thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was just talking to Herbie about it, where it's like I think a lot of us are super guilty of like going into like our own little world when we, like you say, start looking through the monitor and start like looking at things. And yeah, I mean, for myself included, like the in between moments, obviously when we're not shooting, that's when the social moments happen. But when we're actually like shooting and creating, I think like at least for the best people out there, you're pretty much in your own world. And from my experience, having like a headphones or noise blocking, noise canceling is pretty much like the only way to successfully do that.
Yeah, like I'll get in a spot sometimes and I'm like super guilty of just staying in that one spot, but it's like it's just trying to perfect like one shot that I'm trying to get where like I'll throw in the 200 70 200 and like I will be at 200 like at 2.8 and just trying to keep it in focus the entire time because the Z has like pretty bad autofocus, so I'm always running manual and it's like I'll see
That's what I
one
was.
thing.
That was my next question. That makes sense. I think it comes out in your footage though, because you're really good at tracking manual focus, and it.
Oh, I've gotten so much better. I used to be horrible. It used to scare me.
Well, yeah. I mean, like everything does, right? So
Uh-huh.
actually, that kind of brings me into my next question: is how did you get into motorsports videography, and like what would be your best advice for like somebody who's like an entry level trying to get like let's just say like their first media pass?
Let's see. I think it was 2015 is when I first went to the Long Beach Grand Prix, and I think it was my senior year when I bought my first camera. So I had a camera for like a year already, and I just took that camera to the general admission and got the shots that I could get, and then I was super stoked on it. Made a little couple edits, like didn't really matter to me like who saw it. It was more just for me. And then one of my and the Motegi Super Drift is like where I first saw drifting like for the first time really. Uh, and then one of my friends, it just kind of worked out this way where he met this other dude that invited us both out to Apple Valley Speedway, and he was telling us that he was going to go to I forget what it was. It was like some photo shoot that he had set up with like some magazine, like a really like a smaller magazine, and he invited us out again, and it was kind of just saying yes to all these opportunities where you kind of got like your foot in the door a little bit, but you can always meet people out there. And we made a like a little personal edit for him, and that got the attention of a pro spec driver. It was Pro 2 at the time, and then he invited us out to Texas, FD Texas, I think 2017. And from there, I met Jeff Jones, and then at the time, Jeff Jones needed a videographer. So the next round at Irwindale, we were shooting with him, and then yeah, after that, he was like, "Can you do the season?" And just went from there. Just kind of just being in the right place at the right time, just being about it, you know?
I totally can relate to that, but I think like one thing that I'm taking away from that and really like trying to reiterate to people coming in as well is what you said at the start is like focusing on creating for like the joy of creating. It's not like you went to the track that first time planning to be at Irwindale or at Long Beach last weekend. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I think like, so one thing I've been doing recently as somebody who's like been affected, at least in the past, about like releasing a video and it doing insanely well on analytics, and then like another video, which I think is better and it does flat. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
it's so one thing like that I've been trying to do recently is instead of creating a project or a video and then releasing it straight away and then seeing how it does and then going on to the next project, is I'll start the next project before I even release that first one.
Mm.
So that it's kind of just bringing it back to like why I'm doing it and not obviously for the all the other things that come with like this job. So yeah, I think it's just kind of reiterating that for like, again, anyone who's listening who's like an entry level or thinking about getting into it, is just doing it for the right reasons. And like you said, you don't necessarily need a media pass to shoot at a track. Like I from my experience, last year I shot a Formula One event, and the best photo I took was from a perspective of a GA, like a general admissions
Yeah, right. Like even
spot.
last weekend at FD, if you just stand in the grandstands during like main comp, you get such good shots because the
Some of my
lighting's
best footage
perfect.
was from the
Yeah,
freaking balcony, and it wasn't even at the venue, right? Like I didn't even
it's
need a
just
pass.
it just makes it so dynamic. Like with all the crowd in the shot, like if you do a wide angle and you see all the back of their heads while the cars are going by,
I
like
think
yeah,
like
you
that,
really
like
don't need media.
when there's 40 media people on a corner, the last thing I want to do is go stand next to all of those guys and girls and get the same shot.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do anything for me, at least. So approaching it at like a different angle, it's kind of like, again, going back to like that balcony approach that I had, is like, okay, nobody's going to be shooting it up there from that perspective. Like a week before, how can I get that shot?
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's kind of like the same thing though, is like, you could do crazy things with like that approach to whatever event, versus going the classic route of the same old shots that a lot of people have, if you know what I mean by that. And trying to like stand out by that. But at the same point, I understand the want and need to get those shots, because it's obviously a
deliverables and stuff. Yeah.
And deliverables, of course. But yeah, I'm just trying to think about it from like the entry level perspective.
But yeah, like, because when I first shot or when I not even shot it, but like when I just went to the first Long Beach Grand Prix, like I got this one shot, like, you know, the bridges that go over the track, and like the pedestrian crossing bridges. So there was like this little crack between it, and like it had like the stair rail right there, and then like below that was the fence, but then the cars are going under, and I just got like a quick shot of that with like my little 18-105 Sony lens f4. But that was probably like one of the best shots I got, because it's just this different perspective where the rails were bokeh'd and like the cars were in focus, and it was only the cars only go by for a split second, but it comes alive in the edit. Like you combine that with like a front shot, and then you slow that stair shot down, like it just makes it look so good, so different. It's all these spots where it's like you don't even realize, like, oh, why would you stand there? You're not going to see anything. We just need that one shot.
It's just like the different approach. And I think like that's something as well that I'm doing this year, is trying to like whenever I get to any sort of event, whether it be a car shoot or a FD event or an actual like motorsport event, is just taking that time to like look around, like even before you bring out the camera, and just seeing like the different perspectives. And I think like it can definitely be very overwhelming going to these events, especially for like the first time. But I think just remembering those like principles is very important, and it easier said than done for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Cause like you really don't want to miss anything. Like when there's like a crash and like you just weren't there, like you're out like trying to find another spot and you missed it, you like,
you're kicking yourself.
Yeah. Like it's not even it's a bad thing. It's just like, man, if I was just there, like I would have had that.
Dude,
but then
we all know like the crash that we're thinking about when we say that. Like I was standing like a chump over in like I wasn't even like the pit, it was like the vendor area, and then I just hear James Dean like flip last year.
Dude, I was like right place at the right time for that one.
Shout out David Barnhouse for coming through with the footage on that for my edit, because I was
hell yeah
exactly what you're talking about, just devastated that I missed that. That's always think about that.
I know. I still see that funny. The clip that I got, I actually saw it this morning going around again.
It's like that was a crazy moment, man. Like that and like the fire. Those are like, we'll remember those forever. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, being like right place, right time.
Yeah, I mean that's something you can't plan for, and that's something like that you just.
It's just luck almost.
It's a bit of luck and a bit of like foresight. You know what I mean? But I definitely like. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the motorsports in any sport is so hard to predict, right? Like I shot that short doc on Connor Shanahan and Rome CP at Irwindale, and going into the shoot, like the first day, I don't know if Connor's going to make top 16. I don't know if he's going to get a podium. So like that whole footage catalog could have been pretty much not ever used, but it just depends on kind of how things go. I tried to shoot a similar thing in Seattle, but again, like you can't plan for it. So it's just one of those things where you can't really kick yourself. You just have to hope for the best.
Go with the flow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What would you say is more important at the beginning? Like business knowledge, as in like emailing, contacts, like all that type of like knowledge and pitching and things, or focusing on like the art and like when I say art, I mean whether that be like just the social content and focusing on that side, or actually like the art side of like your style of videos, in my opinion. What would you say is like most important, or like what would you say is the percentage of what you need to focus on?
Let's see. I don't know. For me, it's really the art side because just something I've always believed in is if you love what you do, the money will come. And I've seen so many other content creators or even so-called content creators where it's like they watch one video of someone telling them how to scale a video business, and then all of a sudden they're a videographer, and like the videos aren't even there, you know? Like you hear they charge a client like a crazy price, and then you see the actual video they produce, and it's like very not good,
Stock.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's like it really has to matter to me. Like I'll like not go on shoots because I don't really think that I could bring something good to the table, or like I'm just not that like about it. And then there's other ones where it's like I'll do it for free because I want to do that like no matter what. And so it is important because we're spending a lot of money on gear and stuff to get a return on your business. But like I said, I believe that if you're just good enough and you really love it, like the money's going to come no matter what, no matter like what shape or form. It just may take a little bit longer than someone whose like main goal is to get money from it, but you may in the end have an even bigger opportunity than them because you focus more on the skill aspect than the money aspect, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree. And then in my experience, having done this now for like 6, 7 years professionally, is like the years that I've focused on the art side of things, it's turned actually more of a profit than the other years, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's yeah, it's one of those things where I think like having a business sense is obviously going to be a benefit. You're going to get into those types of conversations eventually, especially if you have the skill and it gets to that point. But it's almost, I don't know if irrelevant's the right word, but until you get to that point anyway. So I think you should be focusing on like the art is and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it really is like until you get to that point. Because you'll notice it. Like people will come to you and like ask you to do things and like go on shoots or like take on projects. And at that point you just gotta know what you're worth, which also is a big thing because like a lot of people could get not really scammed, but like not get what they could or do too much work and get underpaid. But like I said, if you really want to do that, then by all means do it.
It's not something I was actually planning on asking, but it's something I've thought about before. And I think we all kind of have is what do you think, or what's like the hardest part for you about not having any sort of certification level on like videography or photography? I'm not sure if in the States they have the Red Seal system, but in Canada, when you're a mechanic or in most trades, you
Hmm.
go through like a 4 year program, you earn your Red Seal, and then that is your certificate that says you obviously know it at this level. Um, I've always kind of, it's obviously very subject and a tricky conversation to have with any sort of art form, but photography and videography, kind of the same way with like music, are reliant nowadays on technology for one. Um, so I always thought it was kind of at least an option, or I kind of want to hear your opinion, I guess, on it. Is what do you think about the idea of like some sort of certification program for videographers to then kind of have that proof of this is the knowledge level, I guess, not necessarily like
Uh-huh.
the quality level, but
Hmm. I don't think, well, to my knowledge, I don't think we have anything like that here. I mean, we probably do, but I don't know about it. I would say like the equivalent in my mind would be kind of like a college degree. Like if you went to like film school or something. Um, and I didn't go to film school. I did go to school, but my degree is like completely different from what I'm doing now. But yeah, it's not, I don't think it's all that necessary because you can teach yourself that. There's just so many tools out now, like YouTube or like Vimeo, where there's even like online classes that'll teach you all this stuff. And you kind of just pick it up on the way as you go too. Like you're meeting different people and they uh have like they'll just tell you like certain things, and now you picked up a new technique or like new knowledge about what you're doing. And there's some people that are just pure talent where you just give them a camera and they can get these amazing shots, not even knowing what they're doing really, because it's their first time. Or even
100%.
like with
Yeah.
a smaller camera, or like, it's they'll have that, just the raw talent for it, and then once you start giving them like details on like how to do it correctly, like they just blossom. It's crazy to see. But yeah, like, yeah, I guess I wouldn't say it's all that necessary, because you can know so much about it, but unless you're actually practicing it, I don't know. I think the actual practice is where you get the most experience.
I just think it's like an interesting I concept, I guess.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, definitely.
I just but no, I totally agree. Like that, yeah, I simply put, I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, I didn't actually, I think it's very common nowadays, didn't go to school for videography or anything, didn't go to film school. I actually like dropped out of mechanics in like second, third year. And yeah, I taught most, like 99% of what I know myself, like off of YouTube and things like that. So I
Yep.
think like it's the common story, right? But yeah, I think it's just like an interesting idea that I've chatted to a few people about. And it's kind of like what you were saying before, like anyone can call themselves a videographer or photographer, but I don't, the more I think about it, like that's not necessarily a bad thing. And that isn't a bad thing, but I think like just the talent's going to speak for itself. Like you said, anyone can pick up a camera and it's going to show pretty quickly, like the eye of somebody's talent. So
Yeah. Or someone who just wants to like get in it for the business, make a social media agency, and like
that
you
too,
notice
that's
all
going to be pretty
the
apparent.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the content's like viral content, not really like any soul to it.
100%. Yeah. No, I mean, a little bit guilty of that, but that's I
Oh
got
yeah,
to
but
make some
you
money
got
at
the
some
eye though.
day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but yeah, I try to balance it out. But yeah, no, I
Uh,
know what you're saying. But yeah, for anyone who wants to know more about Lucas, about Luke, go check out his page at the
yep.
Luke Master.
Feel free to hit me up. I love sharing knowledge.
And that's what I was gonna say. Lucas is a hugely beauty guy. I'm sure he's obviously gonna answer any sort of DM from his friends making fun of him. Anyway, that's gonna be me. Anyway, thank you so much, Lucas. That was
Of
obviously
course.
great chatting with you. And yeah, hopefully that helped anyone listening thinking about getting into videography or potentially already is a videographer, and hopefully it just helped. Lucas, what are your Instagrams and what are your tags and stuff?
You could find me on Instagram at the Luke Master with two R's at the end. We got some other content that I don't post on my personal at the Prisma Lab and Get NRG. So if you want to see some more stuff there. And yeah, we got a YouTube too, Get NRG. That's
And I'm
a
just
lot
gonna
of my
give
work there also.
a quick shout out. I mean, obviously, go check those out for the content wise, but Prisma Lab is legit dope stuff. So definitely go check them out either way, and probably buy something because I know I gotta send some orders through.
Cool,
All
cool.
right, man. Have a good rest of your day, and thank you so much for doing this. And yeah,
You
I'll
as
see you
well.
soon, I'm sure.
Thanks for having me, man. This was fun.